Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to biology course. It is lesson 3 now. I'm your tutor, Carlos Ho. Let's get started. What is a controlled experiment? Controlled experiments involve two groups, the control group and the experimental or test group. The control is the part of an experiment that represents the standard conditions. In other words, the control receives no experimental treatment. The experimental group is the test group that receives experimental treatment. For instance, imagine an experiment to learn how fertilizer affects plant growth. Fertilizer would be used in the experimental group but not in the control group. All other conditions, soil, light, and water, would be the same for both groups. In this experiment, using fertilizer is the independent variable. The independent variable is the one condition in an experiment that is tested. How much the plant's growth is the dependent variable. The dependent variable is the condition that changes because of a change in the independent variable. Safety is another important factor that scientists think about when carrying out investigation and experiments. It is important to know about dangers that may exist from doing an experiment before you begin it. Anyone doing an experiment has a responsibility to follow safety procedures. They must keep themselves and others out of danger. How a theory is formed. The information gathered from experiments is called data. The scientists carefully review of analyze experimental results to decide if the data supports the hypothesis. Scientists repeat the experiment in order to gather more data. Data are considered reliable only when repeating the experiment several times produce similar results. Scientists also compare the results of their experiments with the results of other studies. They research published information in scientific journals and computer databases. It is important to have details of an experiment present in the scientific journals and databases, so scientists can compare their results with those of similar studies. It lets other scientists test the results by repeating the experiment. If many scientists get the same results, it helps support the hypothesis. A hypothesis that is supported by many different investigations and observations becomes a theory. So, the session 3, the nature of biology. Kinds of information. Scientific information can usually be broken down into two main types, quantitative or qualitative. In quantitative research, results are compared by using number. Imagine an experiment to see when different materials begin to melt. The temperature at which wax, iron, and glass each begins to melt is different. Temperatures often are measured in degrees, which are numbers on a scale. These temperatures are a type of quantitative data in quantitative research. Qualitative research is based on observation. It is also called descriptive research because it describes scientists' observations when they do their research. If a scientist wants to figure out how a behavior builds a dam, numbers would not be very helpful. The scientist would observe the behavior and see how the dam is built. When the scientist would describe in detail all the steps a behavior takes to build the dam. Science and society. Scientific research often provides society with important information. What we learned from scientific research cannot be defined as good or bad. Ethics must play a role in deciding how the information will be used. Ethics are the moral principles and values held by humans. Ethics are how we decide what is right or wrong, good or bad. Suppose scientists develop a new vaccine to cure a disease, but they can only produce 1,000 tests each year. Ethics help society decide who should receive those tests. Society as a whole must take responsibility for making sure that scientific discoveries are used in an ethical way. Okay, this is the end of our lesson 3 here. I'm Carl, your tutor. See you next lesson. Thank you.